welcome to Life Proof Relationships, a podcast brought to you by journeyOn Coaching. I'm Kylie.
And I'm Christy.
We are a mother-daughter power team. Both of us are certified life coaches who have made coaching not just our careers, but our way of life.
With more than 2,000 sessions and 2,600 hours of direct coaching experience between the two of us, we have a lot to share with you. Our clients come to us with all sorts of challenges and desires for change. But without fail, we ultimately arrive at the core of everything, cultivating relationships.
So, if you're interested in exploring ways to transform your relationships to be more loving, nourishing, and dynamic, please join us. Whether we're talking about partners, families, friends, or coworkers, we'll always ground back in to the foundation of them all, your relationship with yourself.
So today's topic is, what's love got to do with it? You know, how many times do we come into a conversation with our partners, with our friends, with our colleagues, where we're always thinking of the next thing that we're going to say, or we get into a who's right kind of situation, or we're just really not listening to the other person.
Yeah, this episode is about not getting distracted and remembering the core of why you're talking to this person to begin with, and letting that be the compass of how you relate with them, rather than whatever you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't agree more, and I do have an example.
All right. So Christy's going to share a personal example where I, as her daughter, dropped a big bomb on her, and she got to decide what kind of a mom she wanted to be in that moment. And then I'm going to share some insights from a client story where we really teased this out, and it made everything so much clearer.
Okay, so I was outside of our house in Southern Maryland, just kind of walking around in the front yard, and I get a phone call, and it's Kylie, and I said, "Oh, hey, Kylie." And she just, in perfect form for Kylie, she says, "Hi, Mom. I just I have something that I really want to talk to you about." I said, "Okay." And she said, "Well, I just want you to know that I'm bi." So in the moment, I paused, I stood there, and I had that liminal space of, oh my God, how am I going to react to this? You know, I could have ridden the currents of all kinds of social conditioning, opinions, biases, fears. And instead, I said, with my heart beating really fast, I said, "Wow, Kylie, thank you for telling me. I really want to hear all about it." Now in my mind, I might have been just trying to buy myself some time because I still wasn't sure how I was going to respond, but I really did want to hear all about it. And that's step one in this. It's be curious. So I literally hit the pause button in my mind's eye, and I asked her loving questions from my heart, truly from my heart. I mean, I literally closed my eyes for a few seconds. I focused my breathing to flow into and out of my heart space. And then I asked questions from that heart space, which allowed me to stay truly tapped into that love and light energy. So I said, some of the questions that I said were, well, what is that like? Again, curiosity was ruling that question from that heart space place of love. And then I asked her, well, how do you know? Tell me about your partner. I mean, I really wanted to hear about her. This was somebody that my daughter was falling in love with, she had fallen in love with her. And I asked questions like, well, how do you feel? I even asked, how are people treating you? You know what? But what she really wanted to know and to hear and to feel was, I still belong. My mom accepts me. I still feel loved. I don't hear any judgment. It's going to be okay. That's what I knew in my heart that she wanted to hear. And I wondered in that split second or two of liminal space, could I give that to her and to me? Because there's really this split second or two of liminal space between the condition, which was her calling and the content of her call, and the response, which was my reaction. That is the space we actually have the most control over, and it is that space where we can tap into this field of love. So it works every time. I know and I feel most connected and authentic and clear and able to stay focused on the relationship when I'm aware of that liminal moment. Tap into love and then respond. And it's okay to ask for more time to respond. So I remember her saying at one point, well, Mom, how do you feel about it, Mom? And I said, well, I believe in you, and I know that you know what love is. And I support you in loving whomever you love. And I can't wait to get to meet her. So choose love, choose the relationship in that liminal space where you have that condition and response. If you choose the thing, or you choose being right, or you choose defending yourself, or you choose, piling on a whole bunch of, social biases and things like that, which I could have done in the moment, then, golly, the relationship suffers. So in choosing love, you really lean into the relationship. And I know that Kiley felt loved, seen, heard, and supported.
Yeah, I did. I really kind of walked away with that, from that feeling, all right, well, my mom's kind of intrigued and curious and loves me no matter what.
Yep, I do.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in that moment, it's what happens when we kind of build this rapport together of we can drop bombs on each other all left and right, like in terms of big topics, to bring into a conversation. Because we have this built up rapport of choosing the love and choosing the relationship and not getting distracted by who's right and who's wrong, we've built this level of transparency and trust together that we can have any kind of conversation together.
Yeah, and there are the conversations where, it's still, because we have that transparency and trust, it's okay to say, I don't know how I feel yet. Like that question that you had asked me, how do you feel, Mom? It would have been okay for me to say, I don't know yet. But what I do know is that I love you, all of you, and I appreciate you, including me, in this important discovery in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would have been an honest statement too.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Hey there. I wanted to take a minute to tell you how you can get life-proof coaching from us. It's super simple. Just go to our website, journeyOn-coaching.com, and sign up for a free introductory session with either Christy or myself, Kiley. This is our passion and it's our way of life. So if you're feeling called to reach out, don't hesitate. We look forward to speaking with you and getting to know you.
So Kiley, you said that you have an example from one of your coaching clients about what's love got to do with it.
Yeah. All right. This story starts out in a little bit of an unexpected way. And I get on this call with a client, and she's actually really quite upset about the recent anniversary of her dog's death. And as per how, we're all conditioned to do, so normally is we kind of push that aside and we get to the agenda of the call, and, she starts to try and bring back our topic of conversation that we left off with last week to follow up on things. And I just kind of paused. I said, hang on a second. We'll get to all that. We'll get to it later. Tell me about your dog. And she started talking to me all about her dog, how she found him, what he meant to her, what they did together, what he was like, his temperament, all that. He's adorable little guy. And then I asked, what did your dog teach you? She thought for a moment. She said, well, he would just always sit right next to me, right there on that little bed over there. And he would just listen. And there was never an ounce of judgment coming from him ever. So he really showed me how to listen without judgment. And I also got to feel what that felt like. Some being listening to me without judgment, just simple. And I said, what else? And he said, well, he just loved me. He was always there. Showed me what freely loving looks like. No strings attached. And, she got to feel what it felt like to be loved so freely. So it's a two-way street. She, the dog showed her, demonstrated, led by example, and she really internalized that, somatic experience of feeling those things. So then I said, all right, so you're really wearing your heart out on your sleeve today. So we're going to just go with that. We're going to bring your heart with you. Let's bring your heart with you into the rest of our conversation. In which she wanted to chat about some, really challenging relational dynamics at work. And all of a sudden I could see that, her eyes it was just like the veil had been lifted. And she's like, oh, I get it. I get why, person X is doing X, Y, Z, where she had been once originally responding with frustration. Like, why are you coming to me with this? You should be able to figure this out on your own. You're wasting my time with things you have resources and access to solutions beyond me. Like, why are you coming to me? And she's like, oh my goodness. I'm a neutral person. I'm like, if they come to me and say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing and I need your help, I'm not a peer of theirs. I'm not a direct report. I'm not even their manager. I'm a safe space. They're not being vulnerable to people within their team finding out that they have no idea what's going on. And she's like, oh, I would do the same thing. And so all of a sudden, instead of frustration, there was compassion. There's empathy. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, what if I could listen without judgment to what they were saying? And what if I could just freely be available, freely support, freely meet them? I'm kind of replacing love with more workplace relevant statements. But so the lesson there, it all started with a dog and an impact that this dog had on this woman's life. And, here we were a year later, and she was really struggling to move through the emotions of losing him. And, don't push it away. Bring that with you. Bring the lessons. What did they teach you? What did that being teach you? He was showing her how to love.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, I don't know if anyone who's listening has dogs, but they show us how to love. They're like professors of love. Like, you want to know figure out how to do this? Here, watch me.
And it's all in the present moment.
It's right now. And so bringing that what's love got to do with it? Instead of getting all worked up on the problem of people not, doing XYZ in the way they should be doing, like la la la. She put her heart forward. She brought her heart with her. And all of a sudden, everything else became a simple distraction. And she was in her heart, and her compass was compassion. And she was like, it's just so beautiful to witness. Like, click, 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 click. Oh my gosh, okay. I know exactly how to respond to this. What's love got to do with it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's really wonderful. And I have another short example of what's love got to do with it with a client that I had recently. That the context is that she went through a divorce, and she's figuring out, oh my gosh, how do I date again? And what do I want in a relationship? And all of that stuff, right? So she's had a few fits and starts with that. And in the current relationship that she's in, she's a little concerned because this person doesn't have the same pedigree, if you will, since you just talked about dogs, but of what she was used to growing up and the kind of person that she had married. And so some of the questions that I asked her was like, well, what do you like about him? And she said, he makes me laugh. And I said, well, what else? And she said, I just like him. I like how the attention that he gives me, he listens to me, and we have fun together, and he's really what has been missing in my life. But I'm concerned about this draw of, golly, well, what's his job? And, is he going to be able to support and provide? And she says, well, I don't need all that because I've got a great job. I have a house. I don't need anyone to support me in that way. I said, well, what do you need? She said, I just need love. I need love. I need someone that truly cares, that enjoys me for who I am. And so she just paused and she looked at me and she said, because we were on Zoom, and she said, that's it. It's really just about the love. I don't need all the other stuff. And I said, ding, 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 ding. Yes, that's awesome. So go, enjoy exploring the love. Yeah.
Beautiful. Alrighty. So after those couple of stories, we have given a few examples of what this concept looks like, but there's so many other ways you can paint this picture. In recap, really notice that moment right before you react. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have any stories, thoughts, or questions about relationships that you'd like to share with us, feel free to send us an email. Our email is info@journeyOn-coaching.com. That's info@journeyOn-coaching.com. Follow us on Instagram and send us a DM. Our Instagram handle is @journeyon-coaching. To explore life-proof coaching with us, head to our website and sign up for a complimentary coaching session. Our website is journeyOn-coaching.com. If you love the show and want to hear more, subscribe and download the show on your favorite podcast platform. Until next time, blessings as you journey on.